I think of a node tree as kind of like going into the kitchen. If you go into the kitchen, you have to make a peanut butter and jelly, you're going to use 2 items, right? A knife and a plate. But if you're making dinner for 12, you're going to use a hell of a lot more items than that in your kitchen. But your kitchen's always the same. Every time you go in there, all those tools are there. Every knife's in the block, every pot, pan. You just don't use it all the time. The idea is not to use every single node. The idea is to have those nodes there so that you can access them quickly to do what you're repeatedly asked to do. Node trees are generally built to be repeatable and to provide expected results shot to shot. Spend enough time on the internet and you will undoubtedly come across your fair share of complete and utter bullshit. People claiming that they have the best node tree, or videos where they're all bent out of shape because a colorist used a complex node tree but only used 2 nodes in the tree. So what was the point? Are you just showing off? Consider the source. If you're watching one of these videos and this person claims to have the best tree, or someone else is complaining about how complex trees are stupid, are they a pro colorist? Are these bold claims that they're making in these videos coming from a place of experience? So I thought today I would take you through my commercial node tree that I'm using currently, and I'm going to tell you how it's built, why it's built that way, and how I use it, and maybe give you some insight as to why some of the other contrarian opinions out there might not really be in your best interest. So let's take a look. Node number 1 is my IDT. This allows me to take my camera color space and transform it into my working color space, which is DaVinci Wide Gamut. All the nodes from the IDT to the ODT here, these are all behaving in DaVinci Wide Gamut. All right, node number 2, that's called Linear. This is, it's got a gamma that's changed to linear with the limit mix turned to 0. This allows me to make exposure changes in a linear fashion, and also white balance changes. And it's just kind of like the way I like to work. I think it feels more organic, as if it came off the camera that way. Node number 3 is noise reduction. This is a node that I can just turn on and off to get some noise reduction at the front end of the signal, which is especially helpful for pulling keys and that kind of thing. It's just there with some settings to get me started, and then I can fine tune from there. Next is my highlight. That is a preset kind of selection of the highlighted areas of an image. This can be adjusted to taste, but it's there at the front of the signal so I can rein in highlights should I need to. After that is scatter. I use scatter all the time. Scatter is a fantastic plugin that allows you to emulate glass filtration that may have been used on front of the lens. So they've mapped Glimmer Glass, Hollywood Blackmagic, Pearls, Pros, BPMs, Classic Soft, I mean, all this kind of stuff. So I like this plugin a lot. I love putting it at the front of the signal before any of my corrections are made. And it really does a very close to a 1-to-1 emulation. This next block here, these are all power windows. And again, these are just preset to windows that I use all the time. And they're just there so I can grab them very quickly. I've got 2 circles, 2 inverted circles. So if we want to affect the outside of the image or the inside of the image or the circle. Got my top, bottom, left, and right grads. I use these all the time for adjusting images. And I like them here in the front half of the signal chain because it's almost as if you put flags on the day. From there, I got my balance node. This is the node that I do probably 80% of my work in. This node handles my contrast, saturation, any printed points. Those are all done here in the balance node. I can get about 80-85% of the way to a graded image by this point. Everything after this point is generally tweaks. After the balance node, I've got my mono nodes. This is my hue, my density, saturation, desaturation, and brightness. This allows very quick adjustments to the colors in each shot. So if I just need to swing some red to yellow, for example, I can do that very quickly. Density, the same. After that, I've got my effects presets. So one thing I'm asked to do a lot is beauty. So I've got a face refinement tool preset here. Again, so I can just turn it on and off very quickly, dial it into taste, track the faces, and off we go. After that is a vignette. If we want to add a vignette to a shot on a shot-per-shot basis, I have it here in the chain instead of earlier, as it is kind of a finishing kind of effect in my opinion. After that, I've got my sharpness node. This will allow me to sharpen the image after all of my corrections have been made and after my denoise or noise reduction has been made earlier in the signal chain. I find that it leaves a little bit less artifacting. I've seen some people do it at the very end of the signal. I've seen some people do it at the very beginning of the signal. This is just where I like it. After that, I've got my ODT. This is taking us down from DaVinci Wide Gamut down to 70924, which is what my monitor is set at, and that is what most NLEs are expecting. So unless I've gotten specific instructions to where this delivery format needs to be web only, for example, I might swing this to Rec 2.2, change the monitor to Rec 2.2, and focus solely on that if we're doing the finishing. After that, I've got my got two nodes here. I use these for very quick adjustments to skin. So if I want to key this actress, for example, very quickly I can get a skin key pulled. It's going to pull the table 2 in this example. And then we can just do corrections there, but it'll also separate them out from the background. So if we want to cool down that background without affecting the skin, we can do that very, very quickly in these two nodes here. I rarely use them, but they are here when I do need them. So that takes care of the clip level. On the timeline level, the tree looks like this. This group here, these are all tints I've kind of designed over the years that emulate the color shift that happens with film emulation. So if we don't want to use film emulation on a project, but we want some of the color characteristics from these different films to come into our project, I have them all here preset. So you can see what each one is kind of affecting different areas of the image and doing some different things. This is just how I like to do this, because I feel that these changes should be done at the timeline level, not a clip by clip, because you turn 1 or 2 of these on, then you forget what's on. Just do it at the timeline level, keep it very clean and very consistent, which is what we're paid to do. After that, I've got my blanking. Blanking's cool. Blanking is very good when you're working on like documentary projects. And if there is some resizing or repo that's happened, the blanking will tell you, hey, you've got some unused area in your frame and you need to adjust this. After that, I've got my film emulation. This is done in a compound node. We're going from 70924 to sitting on film log, and that is because we are down from DaVinci Wide Gamut to 70924. And I've got this preset to the codec 2383 at D65. So stacking it like that kind of allows you to dial in the intensity of the film look. So you dial it down, dial it up, depending on what is appropriate for your project. After that, I've got grain engine. This is kind of a little bit complex for this video, but it's emulating grain as if it was shot on film. So grain happens in film a very specific way. This tree's built out to kind of emulate that. After that, I've got my vignette node. I like to have these on both the clip level and the timeline level, especially if we're doing something over and over and over again. Just apply the vignette to the timeline and we're good to go. After that, I've got my fast grain. This is cool. This lets us audition grain, and it runs very quickly because it's DCTL, so it runs off the graphics card. And then after that, I've got my review node, which is it's a node that's got a little bit of adjustment, as you can see here. And when we are exporting to frame for review, we use frame for all of our reviews, I color space tag it and gamma tag it to sRGB 2.2, but it has to have this review node on there. The combination of those two things, based on my experimentation and working and talking with clients, is that it gets what they are seeing close as I am seeing it on the reference monitor. I mean, look, if you're anything like me, you're going to be modifying a node tree your entire career. New methods come along and your tree kind of gets modified. So you may as well just get a tree that works for you. And if it changes over time, then it changes over time. And if you only use 1 or 2 nodes in a 50 node tree, then you only use 2 nodes. And if you've got 50 nodes in your tree and you use 48 of them, and director's happy or DP's happy, and guess what? That's fine too. You're the one sitting in the chair, right? You're the one doing the work. So do what works for you. I promise you, you'll be fine. Don't listen to these other people, all right? It really is that simple. I'll catch you in the next one.